Welcome to the show. After agreeing to hold a hearing at the U.S. Mexico border, all the Democrats, the ones who pride themselves on their concern for minorities, those who sit on the House Homeland Security Committee, well, they all backed out. And what about illegal immigration's impact on Black Americans? A Project Veritas tape reveals the Albany School District's secret transgender agenda in middle school. And remember when Maxine Waters threatened to socialize or nationalize the oil and gas business? Well, she was reminded of that. So what is she saying now? Democrats are the party of slavery, the party of the Confederacy, the party of Jim Crow, the party of the welfare state that incentivizes women into marrying the government and men into abandoning their financial and moral responsibility. And now, guess what? Democrats want reparations? Are you kidding me? Democrats say institutional racism keeps blacks poor. Riddle me this. Explain the steep drop in black poverty from 1940 to 1960 during Jim Crow with no war on poverty and no race-based affirmative action. Black poverty fell from 87% to 47%, best 20-year economic period for Black Americans in history. What today's social justice warriors complain about has little to do with equal rights and more to do with unequal results. Back in 1991, Orlando Patterson, a Black Harvard sociology professor, a Democrat, wrote, and I'm quoting him, "The sociological truths are that America, while still flawed in its race relations, is now the least racist white majority society in the world, has a better record of legal protection of minorities than any other society, white or black, offers more opportunities to a greater number of black persons than any other society, including all of those of Africa," end of quote. There is a crisis within the Black community, and it's the unconscionably high dropout rate at many of our urban high schools. Baltimore in 2017 had 13 public high schools, I kid you not, where 0% of the kids could do math at grade level, and another half dozen where only 1% could do so. A white friend who in the 1990s taught at the University of Chicago recently told me a sad story. It's an all too common story. In a Borders bookstore, my professor friend saw a black boy, maybe 10 years old or so, sitting and reading a book. My friend does not recall the book, but said it was a serious book, not a children's book or a picture book. But another black kid about the same age walked up to him and said, "Why are you reading that? Are you trying to be white?" The reader promptly closed the book, put it down, and began walking away. My friend, however, rushed over to them and said, "Hey, wait, don't stop reading. Reading is important to be successful in life. You should read as much and as often as you can if you want to be successful." The black kid who was critical about reading then turned to his friend and said, "See, I told you reading would make you white." The kid who had been reading nodded in agreement with his friend and continued walking away. Again, equal rights and equal results are two different things, and we should not understate the astonishing progress of blacks since liberation from slavery, when most blacks could neither read nor write. Economist Walter Williams said, and I'm quoting him, "Black Americans have come a greater distance over some of the highest hurdles in a shorter period of time than any other racial group," end of quote. Thomas Sowell, another economist, responding to the narrative that blacks haven't, quote unquote, caught up with whites, noted, "Well, whites haven't stood still," end of quote. There is a documentary called "Will You Go to Hell for Me?" Here is the trailer.
The Democratic Party is the evilest organization in the history of the world. Since their inception in 1800, they've been the party of slavery. Then, after slavery, they became the party of the Confederacy. After that, they started killing black people during Jim Crow era. You're voting for a party that tells you they are going to abort children up to the 9th month, castrate little boys, and call them little girls, mutilate little girls and cut off their breasts and give them puberty blockers. And you don't think you're going to be held responsible? As we look at the Democratic Party and the chaos that they've rained on our community, our young men, our young women, I have to ask you to look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've done to us. Look at what they've done to us. The Democratic Party is a death machine. Wherever they rule, they destroy. That's what they do. They destroy. They decided to try to infiltrate the black community, and they didn't have any success until they met somebody. Who did they meet? Martin Luther King. And this is where we went wrong. He made sure that he brought the black vote to the Democrat Party. They used the black vote to commandeer the most powerful country in the world. He who the Son has freed is free indeed. Once you accept him, you are free. Anybody in the Democratic Party that tells you any different, he's a liar, he's an apostate, he's an affront to God, and he should be rejected by any Christian walking on this earth. And he's inviting you to go to hell with him. Don't go with him. Don't go.
My guest is a Project 21 member and author of 2 groundbreaking books, 25 Lies and The Iron Triangle. He's also producer of this documentary. Please welcome Vincent Everett Ellison. Vince, you call the Democratic Party controlled by a cabal of liars. Tell us how you really feel.
Larry, actually I said they're a cabal of liars, perverts, psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots. They've gone to another level of darkness over the past 10 years that I didn't even think was possible. They were always, racist and bigoted and very low down. As I said before, the party of slavery, the party of Confederacy, the party of Jim Crow. And we always knew they were Marxists and socialists. But now with the whole transgenderism, castrating little boys, calling them little girls, cutting off the breasts of little girls, calling them little boys, letting grown men go into the bathrooms with little girls, drag queen story hour, right. Aborting children up to the 9th month, all this kind of stuff. It's going into a state-sanctioned insanity that now, literally, if Christian people, which I'm a Christian, and 80% of black people say they're Christian, voting for this party is putting them in danger of hellfire, period. You can't vote for these things. You can't vote for murdering children. You can't vote for castrating little boys and don't think you're going to be held accountable before God for this. In our Bible, in the book of Romans 12:14, it says you're going to stand in front of God and be held accountable for everything that you do if we do not repent.
Vince, how do we break the stranglehold that the Democrats have over blacks? Donald Trump got around 12% or so of the black vote, up from around 8% he got 4 years earlier. So it's going in the right direction, but that's still meaning 88% are voting for the Democratic Party or not voting at all. What do we do about this?
This is a spiritual problem. It's not a part of politics. We have to keep doing what we're doing, Larry. What you're doing, what I'm doing. I wrote this documentary specifically for that reason. I'm telling the African American community and the Christian community that this party has gone into darkness. I started with a story that me and my daughter was traveling, and they were having this march of women, but right after Trump was elected, and we stopped at a McDonald's, and this white liberal said, "Hey, come to ask my daughter to go to Washington D.C. with them to get this thing at the White House." And my daughter said, "I can't go with you. I'm a Christian. I vote my values," and I voted for Trump. And I looked at that and I said, "That's amazing. Why don't more people say that? I'm a Christian and I vote my values." We have to start telling black people again that you have to choose between Jesus Christ or this party. You can't have both. You cannot serve two masters. But the Democrats have told them that they can. They've lied to them and said there's some type of severability between their vote and their walk with God, and there isn't. We have to let them understand that the Democrats have set a trap, and they have fallen into it. And if they do not correct themselves quickly, they're going to go to hell. And the question is very simple. Are you willing to go to hell for the Democratic Party? And I think a lot of them will say no. But that's going to be the question we have to present before them. Not Republican, Democrat, Christ, or hell.